Welcome back to Persona 5 Royal. Last time we stole the ID of a chief director so that we can now access more of Okumura Foods' internal corporation. This is why physical security is just as important for corporations as cybersecurity. But now I'm going to head back down a floor so we can use that ID. So I find it kind of interesting that there seems to be a warp trigger for the next area below this elevator, because yeah, that's how some speedruns do this. It's still a 14-hour speedrun even with that glitch. And it does seem to be one of the few glitches in this place, but there's actually quite a few other interesting aspects of this palace that I can talk about regarding speedruns. It's weird, just when it comes to speedruns of this game, a lot of the more interesting parts are in this palace. One of them involves an enemy we've already seen before.
Alright!
Yeah, true, because shadows generally have no filter, and usually they like to openly show and tell everything they're guilty of. But we haven't seen anything like that, but maybe he keeps it in his deepest, darkest mental vaults. Or he's even obfuscated his true mental vaults like a certain Psychonauts villain. I always thought that was a pretty cool twist. Yeah, now we've just gone up here, and if we exit through this area, we should be... Firstly, let's grab that. UFO drone. Yeah, we still haven't even increased the security level beyond the 0% we dropped it to at the start. Yeah, we should be in, hang on a minute. Oh, there's another safe room here, isn't there?
That building is where the treasure is. We're not far.
And again, this is also fully voiced in Royal.
If it's seriously that close, can't we just go from outside? No point going through there.
Do you see any jetpacks on our Phantom Thief costumes? Didn't think so.
That might be worth a try.
Or, you know, I guess we can get across via these floating platforms. Also, yeah, this is a bit that you can kind of skip with the grappling hook, but I want to explore more of the area because there are some chests around here. Anybody? Oh, Haru's saying something new this time. I think it is random who comments every time you enter a safe room.
Yeah.
Pretty normal comments, but I might as well save. Royal added a lot more safe rooms to palaces. Here I do feel like they might have been a little overly generous at times, but oh yeah, this is fun. This definitely wasn't in the original game, given the grappling hook is new to Royal, but yeah, there's even more of this area you can skip via grapples, but as I said, I do kind of want to go through as much as I can. This will just take you back to the start. Just because there are some chests around here, plus there's some enemies that I want to fight. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to go into the inner ring here.
See it. Show me your true
Now,
form.
are new enemies gonna start to show up here? Although I actually still need to recruit Decoravia. Oh yeah, I knew it. I knew Mothman showed up around here. Vampire Moth. I guess this is actually kind of the furthest I've ever been without having fused Mothman myself. But I do believe you guys are weak to gun, although I haven't shown this off yet. Guaranteed knockdown. And let's go into Haru, because if they're weak to gun, I can also show off her gun. Only 1 ammo per fight, but it does hit everything. Okay, you're timid too. I'm doing really badly with timid shadows right now.
A shy shadow. Say something kind to make it feel at ease.
Oh, okay, this is the same line from before. And I think I've seen this one before too. What about that? Yeah, I had a feeling that'd be right, because yeah, we wouldn't want to tell him that we would be, you know, admiring our victory over him, or you know, dissecting him or something like that. This now just reminded me of there's an episode of a show that I watched when I was a kid called Gumby, where in one of them he gets turned into a butterfly and narrowly escapes being like pinned as like a pinned butterfly exhibit, which is horrifying for a kid's show.
Okay.
That show actually had quite a lot of things that, like, outright traumatized me when I was younger. Yeah, like on the one hand, I do think that kids shows do need some kind of stakes and dark elements to them, otherwise they just, you know, can come across as a little bit too, I don't know, overly saturated, not really teaching good morals, but at the same time, also they shouldn't outright traumatize kids either. So as I said back in Oya's bio, you want to hold the button, not mash it. As I didn't say during Oya's bio, but I really will say now, bullet hell is very loud, so if you are wearing headphones, like on the Switch version or something, or are in an area with other people around, you might want to turn your volume down when bullet hail happens, because it is, it can be quite, like, you know, ear painful to listen to. Okay, there you go, one shot. Or is it a Tetra Hammer, which you can use to break an enemy Tetracon? Why those things drop Tetracon? Well, yeah, it's because they use it, and that's actually the thing when it comes to speedruns that I wanted to talk about here.
That easy, huh? I can tell by your face.
Because a lot of people, and like I think Decarabia is even listed on the TV tropes page for like tier-induced. Well, the trope now I believe is low-tier letdown, but it used to be called tier-induced scrappy for Persona, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's weak to physical on the main character. Why would you ever want something like that? But you might be surprised to hear that Decarabia actually sees a very good amount of use in speedruns of this game. And I think it's precisely because it learns Tetracon, and maybe enemies preferentially target it with physical attacks because they know it's weak to physical. Because for some reason, it just does see a lot of use on Joker in speedruns, and even all the way up to the very end of the game. Like, it's kind of insane. So yeah, just because, like, you know, you might think a Persona is worthless, then, yeah, it might surprisingly actually be pretty good.
Indeed.
But anyway, they're talking about the whole mental shutdown stuff. I'm more concerned about the palace itself, fighting enemies. I still need to recruit a Decarabia, by the way. Oh, got a treasure demon here. That is totally new.
Oh, that one's really rare. This enemy has been with us. It should be easy if we stay focused.
Okay, I know what you are, but for the moment I've forgotten what you're weak to. So let's see if I can get, do I have any Maasai attacks anymore? I don't think I do, which is kind of a pain.
Go down.
I'm not going to be able to recruit Decarabia in this fight anyway because I need to negotiate with this treasure demon.
Nice, Joker.
Do it.
Of course. On to the next. Persona. Touch them, Melody. Right in the weak spot. Stand.
Oh, and of course this thing's weak to Psy. Why wouldn't it be? I kind of felt like maybe it wouldn't be because some of the treasure demons in earlier palaces were weak to Psy, but no. This thing is too, because it's Okumura's palace and pretty much everything in here is weak to Psy.
Joker.
I like how Haru takes her hat off and takes a bow there. Haru does have some pretty good animations though. There is one aspect when it comes to Haru's animations, also no reason not to replace Lucky Punch with that, unless you want to spend less HP, I guess. About Haru's animations that I'm not a huge fan of, but I might get into that maybe in the next fight. Wow, you spawned early. But yeah, I wanted to actually check out this thing because largest time it was cut when it came to the British royal family. It's said to bring bad luck to any man who wears it, so only the females have ever adorned it. So, okay then. Weird thing to be semi-bragging about. I believe I've actually seen the real thing in the display of the crown jewels at the Tower of London. It was either there or they were, like, it was being... I know there was some of the jewels that had signs on them that said currently in use and weren't actually available because of that. Have we seen what Haru looks like hitting a physical weakness? Yep, double axe swing and a grenade launcher. Okay, will I finally be able to do these? Oh, stop with the Joe Schmo thing! It's bad luck for me. You knocked me down, and now my god. Oh, wait a minute. This. Oh, wait, no. This is the one where you can say you don't even have a watch. Yeah, my apologies is obviously the kind answer here. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure a watch would be able to fit on one of your starfish limbs anyway. For some reason, Decarabia in most Shin Megami Tensei games it's in usually has a whole lot of personality. It's kind of implied to be friends with Fornius in Nocturne, and then in 5, it sells out Ishtar and then feels like, oh crap, I told you how to kill my boss afterwards. Pretty rude, man. No, it isn't part of my... Oh, yeah. Well, you gave me easy to figure out kind answers that time, so hey, I can finally get you. Also, I like how the pose it does there looks a lot like it's 2D art in some of the games. Of course, speaking of Fornius and Decarabia, they're notable in Persona 3 for getting the only equivalent of Heat Riser in that game as a combination skill.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, so now I had to go around the other way to get all of the chests, but since this is kind of new territory, I kind of like how the edges here look a little damaged, because it's implied a lot of people have been climbing on them. And because we're at 0% security, that guy didn't notice me for a few seconds. Oh, 3 Arabakis, okay then. I will want to be fusing Lachesis soon, but I think I'm going to keep her, Atropos for a little bit. Just to show her off, because she's quite a good fusion that I did. But then I'll be down fusing her into Lachesis, just to get that cleared. I definitely need to work more on my strength rank. You'll be seeing this a lot in this palace, but it still looks pretty good. In fact, now I can actually talk about something after this. Oh, it's just that's yeah, fine. Let's go ahead for replace that. Skills, new skills all around here.
That was fast.
Oh, I interrupted Futaba sleepy time. Kind of wish we could have done back during her arc, but oh well. Oh, it just says Big Bang. I thought it said like bigger for a second. But yeah, something about this palace that a lot of people have said, and I kind of agree, that it got a massive improvement in Royal simply by virtue of the new way that Baton Pass works. And it isn't so much like the gameplay effects of Baton Pass, because they're mostly similar apart from some of the new stuff with darts. In fact, since you guys are weak to gun, I can actually go ahead and do a triple down. This might actually outright one-shot all of you. No, yeah, triple down's accuracy is very shaky. That's one downside of it, especially when it comes to Haru having it. I can never figure out whether she's saying judge them, milady, or touch them, milady. I'm pretty sure it would be judge, because the other one would sound weird. Okay. But, yeah. It's the fact that all party members start with Baton Pass by default in Royal. That alone radically improves his powers, because as I said in the last video, Haru is pretty slow. And that means that she doesn't really get a whole lot of chances to attack things unless you Baton Pass to her. And that's a bad thing in this place specifically, because a lot of things in the palace are weak to Psy. Oh, another follow-up attack.
Permission to fire?
Oh, got Morgana this time. Oh, that one looked pretty cool. Like, those two look like legitimate, I would say badasses, but in my accent, that doesn't sound right. But, like, badass sounds wrong as well, so it's one of those words that I just can't really say properly. It's just kind of annoying.
Here it comes.
Oh, okay then. Maximum Mothman overkill, let's go. Showing off all the special moves against a bunch of moths.
Good work, everyone.
With Baton Pass, because a lot of things in this palace are weak to Psy, you really want Haru to be hitting them, but the lack of Baton Pass meant that not only was it harder to actually get Haru to even get Psy attacks off to begin with, but it was also harder for Haru herself once she got Baton Pass off. Once she got a weakness off, she couldn't Baton Pass to anybody, so it just made a lot of these fights really awkward, since many of them are only weak to Psy, and it just made them really battles in this palace really tedious, and it was just generally not a fun time. The battles go so much smoother with the new improvements to Baton Pass in Royal. Now, if that fails, this is one of the few times when I like to use my, my Hummer items. There we go.
Great, huh? Good work, everyone.
Being rebellious elephants does you no good when you are getting vaporized by exorcism.
Okay.
To Didn't even break a sweat.
But yeah, those who played the original game will probably know what I mean here. It's just, like, not having Baton Pass really, really hurt Haru at this point. And the worst thing was that Haru's Confidant doesn't open up until after this palace is, like, long after this palace is over, actually. Haru definitely suffers from, like, I made jokes about her screen time earlier, and, yeah, I suppose I can kind of go into that a little bit during the palace as well. Guess finally I can show off Oni Kagura. It's classified as physical, except White Rider still does it by shooting an arrow. Unfortunately, White Rider doesn't learn God's Bow in this game, which in some of the SMT games is kind of a ridiculous skill. Guaranteed instant death if the enemy isn't immune to light. So, yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. It's the sort of light equivalent of Beelzebub's Death Flies, which is also not in this game. Yeah, I kind of wonder how Death Flies would be if it was in one of these games.
Surprise attack successful. Now just don't lose.
I suppose you can see right here, like with the fact that all these party members have Baton Pass by default. Previously, I've mentioned this before, you'd only get, like, apart from a few party members, I think Arn was one of the only ones in the base game who had Baton Pass from the beginning. Most of them would only unlock Baton Pass in the early ranks of their Confidant, and again, that's a problem for Haru because you can't start a Confidant for a really long time. And after I do this, I'll probably be heading back, just cutting back to the end of this floor, because we've already seen everything we need to.
I handled that easily.
Actually, wait a minute. Speaking of Decorabia, I believe that Decorabia also carries one of the crafting items that you need to make the permapick. Okay, a lot of hopping over platforms later. It's time to infiltrate his base itself. Welcome to the export line. Oh yeah, this room often confuses me. Because there's a will seed here, but you can't actually get it for a little bit.
Is there a safe room around here somewhere?
Like, it requires a little bit of finesse to actually reach. I kind of wonder what these safe rooms here are meant to represent in Okumura's mind, because, yeah, they're places where his cognition is weak and he doesn't have a lot of influence. They kind of look like storerooms. I sort of feel like that theming for the safe rooms is a little bit, I don't know, dropped after Kamoshida's Palace, because there I always thought it was pretty cool, the fact that they were representing classrooms, because, yeah, he can't act openly abusive or predatory in the middle of a classroom while there are other students around, so it makes sense those would be safe places inside his cognition. But here, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, maybe Okumura himself doesn't have a lot of influence inside these, parts of his, corporation. Maybe this is where the workers go to gossip about him. Not even sure if, many workers in Japan would even do that, though. Cause yeah, Japanese work culture is like, I know that I don't really have a lot of authority to talk about it, given that oh yeah, here, this is really confusing. You can get up here from the other side, but it's not two-way. Because, you know, I'm not Japanese. I'm mostly basing this off of sort of experiences that I've heard from people online. But I do have, like, a friend of a friend who did work in a company in Japan and did say that it was really brutal. And he actually did talk about the fact that... So, in a lot of these companies, there's kind of an unwritten obligation to, you not only work ridiculously long hours after ridiculously long commutes... and here's the reason why this will seed's a little annoying, because we need to shut these off first. But also, you kind of are obliged to hang out with your bosses for drinks after work. It's technically optional, but it's also one of those things that, like, if you don't go, it'll look really bad for your career.
This really is a factory, just like the name says. I wonder what they're making here.
And it actually leads to a lot of alcoholism among Japanese office workers as well, because, like, yeah, this is something I'll say after this scene's over.
Huh. Do you think it's related to that escape to Utopia thing?
No, I think all of those crates are just filled with all the gross parts of the cow, like the hooves and stuff, quote unquote.
Hold on a sec. Ain't the guys in here moving kind of weird?
Unfortunately, this is the exact opposite of how you would imagine a utopia to be. These conveyor belts and the positioning of the workers. This is almost identical to the company's bun factory. I can't believe this.
At the very least, this is how Okumura views his workers. My apologies for saying so, Noir, but this is truly atrocious.
Well, it'll all be under control if we can trigger that change of heart in him, yeah? Let's go.
And immediately shadows appear. In a documentary that I was seeing about, it was actually like James May from Top Gear going to Japan, one thing that like both myself and the other people watching that documentary really commented on was the fact that there's just so much beer drinking culture in Japan. Like, people, like just going out for a beer after work is just such a common thing. And it does, again, lead to a lot of alcoholism and a lot of dependencies like that.
Don't rush this.
I specifically didn't fuse Lilum because I wanted to see what her shadow title was. Woman who brings ruin. Okay then, that's pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, she is weak to bless and also wind. So at this point, I kind of like to bring Morgana back.
Cool.
Also, you're giving me traumatic flashbacks because you're the same form that Karen, who caused my first game over, yeah, was in. Okay, you're gloomy, so vague answers.
It looks sad. Be nice and just give some basic vague answers.
Oh, she's actually outright saying vague answers there. If you don't shoot me, then I'll kiss you. Okay, that one worked. I mean, considering your title is Woman Who Brings Ruin, being kissed would be a very bad idea. It's no fun going home when only my annoying mom and dad are there. Okay then. Parents are annoying, you should love your parents. Why not come to my place? Huh. That's a question mark? Oh, nope, okay. Yeah. Good effort.
Let's withdraw.
I'll have more opportunities to show things, but I suppose while on the subject of fan servicey enemies, I was mentioning earlier in this part something that I don't like about Haru's animations, and that is the fact that her animations are a little weirdly fan servicey for someone like her. Like, there's the fact that, like, on the victory screen, like, it very prominently focuses on her butt. The fact that she has very notable jiggle physics when she does almost anything in battle. Like, some people are bothered by Arn's jiggle physics, but they're not really, to me, that noticeable unless you put her in the swimsuit outfit or something. Red Shadow. Oh no, once more the control ship has been destroyed, and it destroyed this too! But yeah, back on the subject of Arn. Yeah, I knew this would be too good to be true. But yeah, if the arms are fragile, huh? Then maybe we can do something about that. Although that thing just respawned, so I kind of want to go back and check it out. Don't think it's going to be more Lilums. But yeah, like, it's especially noticeable. In fact, I might try and show it here. It actually is it is a Lilum. I keep thinking, like, I'm like, okay, if it's weak to physical, it's probably weak to gun as well. No. Often, if something repels one, it usually repels the other, but for weaknesses, usually doesn't go both ways that way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and use a Bless or Wind item with Haru. So, like, yeah, when she receives a baton pass, jiggle physics. But the real notable case of jiggle physics is, hang on a minute, massive jiggle physics. Yeah, that's by far the most jarring case of jiggle physics to me. Like, it's a huge focus on her chest with a major jiggle whenever she uses an item. But yeah, that's the only thing I'll really be complaining about. It's just kind of weird for a character like Haru to be treated like that, but anyway. Call the police, okay then. Well, I mean, I guess we were talking about Haru jiggle physics there, so maybe she got the wrong idea from that. Call I dare you, forgive me, it was self-defense. Yeah, no, that's not working.
Anyway.
Then you real point in killing me. Yeah, true, you'll just keep respawning as long as humans still have the myth of you in their minds. Of course, there's a point you're right. Then who's the real enemy? I really hope this is vague enough for you. It was, good. I mean, in some cases, humans are the real enemy. Especially in a horrible work environment like this. Yeah, that's just one of those things, these kind of corporations. I mean, I don't want to be...
You've got a new mask.
Like, I'm... Yeah. Please don't get me wrong, I'm not a misanthropist, but,
Okay.
but yeah, really only humans have made these kind of big exploitative companies and things like that.
Whoa.
But
Arm speed. Beep. I kind of only remembered recently that I actually got that from the Demented cartoon movie, which I rewatched like about a month or so ago, and it actually held up surprisingly well. I don't know if everyone will like it, but like it's just a really silly piece of internet culture from like my childhood that I used to find hilarious, and I actually still think it's kind of funny. But yeah, that's something that always just sticks in my mind whenever someone is thinking of pressing a button that's very obviously a bad idea. Or just doing something in general that's obviously a bad idea. It's just a great reaction to any kind of dialogue choice that's obviously going to result in disaster, but you just can't help but try it anyway. Okay then, yeah, we're kind of blocked off here, but up there... it's not letting us grapple onto that from here, but that leads that one-way ledge from earlier that bothered me. But now that arm's broken, we can cross over. So yeah, a lot of things to talk about here, but now that I've recruited Lilim, and that one is a red shadow, and I couldn't fight the other red shadow because some crates fell in front of it, so now... Yeah, I had a feeling it was Kumhanda. Yeah, this thing's showing up now. Kumhanda on a food production line. That might actually be a reference to Digital Devil Saga, where, yeah, it was the boss of a factory managing, like, food resources for demons, and, there was basically a puzzle that involved, putting a slime in the production line so that it gets sick. Okay, you are not weak to Bless.
Opponent is strong. Don't do anything reckless.
In that case, was it wind that you were weak to? Something tells me that it was wind, but it might actually be fire. So I'm gonna try this. Well, fire's outright an immunity. What about Haru?
Ooh,
I should have known. When in doubt, try Sai. Almost everything in this palace is weak to it. So yeah, let's see if I can... Actually, no, you're above my level. I can't recruit you, because I don't have Sun high enough. I think it's technically possible to have Sun at rank 10 by now. Probably not a bad idea either.
so much for them.
But yes, goodbye, Kumhanda. Yeah, red phosphorus is... I don't think actually that's what's needed for the thing,
That
but
was
still.
a little too easy.
Yeah, but for a red shadow, that was pretty easy. But I did say that the shadow levels would even out eventually. This is why. So we've still got enemies that are red, even though we went to Mementos and over-leveled a lot. So, yeah. I'm kind of happy, because I don't really like being over-leveled much. There being two Mothmans here, there's a little more satisfying. I mean, okay, I could do triple down, but I also love hitting mass weaknesses with this, except when that happens, because, yeah, just like triple down, Haru's grenade launcher is not great in terms of accuracy. She actually might be one of the few party members to benefit from the accuracy upgrades from EYs. Like, honestly, I think those would be a decent idea on her. I'm pretty sure her grenade launchers didn't have... Oh, we haven't seen that finisher for a long time. Yeah, in general, I just don't feel like you see Makoto's finisher that often. I don't know why. Maybe just there aren't a lot of enemies that are weak to nuke, or Makoto just goes first in a lot of battles, which means usually she just hits one weakness and then baton passes to someone else. But yeah, it's kind of weird. I just feel like I don't see Fist of Justice that much.
That one's dangerous.
But anyway... what I was saying was, yeah, accuracy boost, yeah, because in the original game, your ammo didn't refill between battles, so obviously, having only one shot for the entire palace would be kind of weird. Though you could craft extra ammo from Morgana back then.
I'm glad we won. Okay, let's move on.
Makoto's meanwhile doing a bit of a I wouldn't say smug, but just kind of just that kind of like hands on
Okay.
hips, you know. I don't
A
really care
complete
pose.
victory.
See it.
Now let's keep
Look at
going.
these random alphabet letters. Can you Shanae hook from the front?
Show
Nah,
me
it doesn't
your
look like
true
you
form.
can. Once they've noticed you, you're not able to do that. You have to kind of get them from behind. Once again, loud sound warning. Actually, regarding bullet hail, I can actually talk about something else regarding it. So, I said regarding twice, but anyway.
You're mine.
So yeah, bullet hail. Early trailers showed the initial Phantom Thief quartet using bullet hail in Kamoshida's palace, which implies that it was intended to be gained much earlier in the game at one point in development. It was also called random fire there, which I believe is what it's called in Japanese in the first
They were
place.
nothing.
Focus.
Oh, it just says potato. I thought it was, for a second, it would say fries, and I would be able to talk about how, where I live, we don't really call these kind of chips fries. It's kind of funny, because in the US, these are called fries, whereas, like, potato chips are called chips. In the UK, the kind you get with fast food, like French fry type things, are called, I also love the way this thing just breaks down like that. It just goes like, boom, broken. But yeah, the kind of things you get with fast food places are called chips, and the ones that are potato chips are called crisps. And in Australia, they're both called chips, and it's just based on context which one you're talking about. So, just another one of those cases. Okay, we can hop down here and get on that, but I also didn't reach that thing, and also haven't turned off those laser fences yet. However, we can open up a bit of a door to before here by activating this. Actually, no, it's less of a door to before and more of a door to that one specific gold chest. Also, these will... oh, you can't fast forward them. This would be really hilarious, fast forwarded. So, one thing about this that makes this go from somewhat funny to actually really tragic, those robot arms, they're still robots, and that means they still represent employees in Okumura's cognition. So, these things that are breaking down from all of this stress and overuse, yep, they're actual people. Well, I may as well go ahead and grab this chest while I'm here. And there's... oh, it's not a Kumpanda. You've changed shadow type since those crates fell. I noticed that. Okay then, so you're... oh, just Mothman and... I almost called you Liliths, but no.
Clearly inferior. Wind with wind attack.
I just love that. It's clearly inferior line. You know, I don't really feel like I get to use Samsara that much. It's pretty expensive in terms of SP, but I just want to show this because it looks really cool.
Looking good. Joker beat 2 enemies.
Yeah, that's a big problem though, because like it has been nerfed significantly. I do believe that like Samsara and Diaphemy were an 80% chance at instant death back in Persona 3, which was a little bit excessive. But in that game, regular Hama and Mudo were pretty bad, and they were Persona exclusive skills, though you could transfer them to other Personas in that game. You can't in
They were
this
too
game.
weak to bother with. Oh.
But let's see what's in gold chest number 1. Oh, also, once again, we get to see Haru being dorky. that's so great. And we get Big Bang Axe.
This is... yes.
Kind of reminds me of, like, you'd think this would be the kind of axe that's, like, the axe equivalent of, like, the lances used by Rough Riders in Warhammer 40k, which is... it's kind of a weird, crazy concept, but... oh, right, it's a grappling hook to get you up there. But basically, the Rough Riders in 40k, good thing I was using Third Eye here, because I might not have noticed that otherwise. That deactivates those lasers. They're like, well, for one, they use real horses in a sci-fi setting. But for 2, their weapon of choice is lances, like actual lances that have grenades strapped to the end of them. And they're surprisingly effective at tank killing, despite how archaic they seem. As of recording this, they're getting new models soon too. I've actually recently got back into Warhammer as of recording this, because yeah, I for some reason I just really like, I don't know, the Leagues of Votann just really appealed to me. I just wanted to, you know, see the return, like I wanted to be part of the return of the squats to the setting, and like just the idea of space dwarves is kind of cool. And just between you and me,
That's our second will seed so far. We're on a roll.
because I'm sure Games Workshop themselves wouldn't like me saying this, just between you and me, I'm painting them like Moradanians from Xenoblade 2. Just because dwarves, Scottish accents, Moradanians, yeah. Okay, we've completely cleared out the export line. Let's see what's next on our agenda.
Man.
Production line. Yeah, I think we can get through this area, because usually I like to end things off when we hit a new safe room, and there isn't one here. So, let's keep going. What do we got here? We got more of these things. I don't think there's anything new here.
I'll reveal your
Also, I believe, yes, those signs on the wall, they literally say time is money. Oh, actually, I stand corrected. Hi there, new thing. Don't you just hate it where you're on the toilet and someone barges in with like, and then like 4 people barge in and start unloading their guns on you? Anyway, you are no longer called Ambassador of Guilt though, but because I have you, yeah, I know you're weak to fire, so that's good. I can get Arn to just blast you. Which is good, because I feel like Arn hasn't really done a whole lot so far this palace. And also she gets to show off her boost amp combo again. Did I fuse away my Belphegor?
Oh, some rare loot!
Frost Magatama, nah. Hoping for a skill card, but no. Something kind of funny about Belphegor that I found out while searching for it on the Shin Megami Tensei wiki is that there is this obscure, not obscure, but this kind of weird spin-off called Demi Kids, or yeah, it's called Demi Kids in English, because I feel like there would be questions if they called a game Devil Children in America. That's what it's actually called in Japanese. We have hydraulic presses too, kind of a staple of any evil factory. Kind of reminding me of Crash Bandicoot now. Also, there are some lasers too, so we've got to disable quite a lot of things here. Basically, one thing that I find quite funny is that Belphegor, like a lot of the demons, they look pretty much nothing like their SMT counterparts and don't really look like anything from mythology at all. They look even like, they're not even like, I wouldn't even say like Pokemon, they just look like kind of generic fantasy monsters. But one kind of funny thing is that Belphegor, in those games, it actually looks like it's standing on like a potty, which is just kind of a funny concept for like the kid-friendly equivalent of Belphegor. I was gonna say that I was gonna baton pass to Makoto just so I can see her finisher again, but no, it was weak. I still love that. Like again, jiggle physics and all of that aside, Haru probably has some of my favorite end of battle animations in this game. Oh, hi there. Let's see what you are. You're probably nothing new, but I've had to stand corrected multiple times so far.
That one's just weird. I don't know what it's gonna do.
Oh wait, you guys are dizzy, so you'll get technical from anything. I don't even need to swap it. I was gonna show off swapping in Morgana here, because I feel like I would rather have him hit their weaknesses, although his SP is running really low from the whole, Chief Clerk debacle, but yeah, I feel like he would be better than using a whole lot of SP on light skills, but did it again, bless.
Alright.
But yeah, I guess I can swap him in now. Let's see. I still need Arn, which means Makoto actually has to go. Okay, so now Morgana, have some chunky katsu. It's not sushi, but there you go. It'd be kind of funny if there actually was, like, a sushi item, and if given to Morgana, gave more healing or more SP. But remember when I said there are a lot of things that I wanted to talk about regarding speedruns in this palace? This is another one of them. So, a little known fact of Royal is that Joker actually moves faster compared to the base game. And that's relevant because of this. So we can set it to break, lunch, unpaid overtime. Well, what happens if we do this? We are currently in a state of constant unpaid overtime. For the good of the company, glory to our wonderful president, Okumura, and him alone.
For real?
Yep. Unpaid overtime is always in effect. But okay then, if we set it to break, It is now break time. Let us rest and restore our weary spirits. Break time shall last for approximately 5 seconds. Oh, not quite. Okay, so you only have one shot at that. It is possible to make that in Royal. Only in Royal, not in the base game. This is according to a speedrunner of this game that I've watched. But yeah, you only get one shot at that because after you've chosen the break option once, they'll say that it's useless and you won't be allowed to choose it again. But in Royal, it is possible to actually get there in 5 seconds, and the funniest part about all this is it doesn't actually save any time in a speedrun. Because it takes the exact same amount of time to just choose lunchtime and do that instead. Lunchtime is 30 seconds, a little bit more lenient. I like how the map even actually marks this out, so there are 2 ways we can go here. I kind of want to go for the furthest one first, just because there's a chance this might be, yeah, the end, but, if you make it over, then, again, oh, damn it! It's a rare enemy that gives me a lot of experience. And yes, this timer continues to go down even in battles. You might want to remember that for later. Oh, actually, it's guns that you're weak to. Okay then, I'm not sure I really needed that, but oh well.
Ooh, Joker, you're looking cool.
And as you can see there, we can't use downshot anymore in this palace infiltration. Yeah, that was Futaba. Slight pause, I knew what that meant. Ryuji's getting a little ahead of the pack here. And so the presses be pressing once more.
I'll reveal your true form.
Wait, really? 2 of them in a row? And bullet hail. Suppose time really is money in this place. This is where they keep most of their pay, I guess. Wow, even more money because I won with an all-out attack. Yeah, I did get a money reading going into this place. Mataru Unda, actually good timing. That's a pretty useful skill for later in this palace and in the boss fight. And let's take Mediarama. Makoto is getting further and further to outclassing Morgana. Actually, speaking of that, yeah, I do still need to talk about that whole thing. Thankfully, they put one of these here so that you don't get trapped in here. But I think in the next part, I might talk about my thoughts on the Morgana arc and that whole thing. Yes, blah blah, lunch blah, okay. I love how it changes to this kind of crisis music while the presses are on break. Okay.
I have something.
We do still have an enemy here. Sage Astrolabe. I'm not even entirely sure what an astrolabe is, but I know that it's used in a lot of things. But this right here... I've never actually seen what happens if you try and access another terminal before break time is over. That's pretty cool. So yeah, this one is a new setting. We can set it to disable security. Oh, that's great. As a cost-cutting measure, we will now disable security in some locations. I don't know what's worse, disabling security or mass firing people. But yeah, now the lasers are down, we can set this thing to lunchtime and get yet another 30-second interval. I was gonna say 30 minutes, but no. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Press blah. 30 seconds. When I say let us gleefully consume slop, I kind of wonder what, like, just how bad the Okumura canteens are. Okay, right, that's where we need to go, yeah. So yeah, now that we can get past these lasers, we can run over here. Nope, nothing over there. So we can now jump on here, and there we go. That's pretty much all we need the hydraulic press for, so we can let the timer expire during this next battle, which will be occurring in now.
Show me your true form.
Now's our chance.
Double toilets.
No, you gotta hit them.
Oh, that missed thanks to Icy Glare. Yeah, that thing, Famine Scream, that actually inflicts an ailment that we haven't seen before. Or have we? Remember that item from the Yakisoba pan, I think it was, from the school cafeteria that says cures hunger? Yeah, that's what Famine Scream causes. Hunger is a status ailment that really only appears in this palace. But that's what cures it.
Keep it up.
So, okay, from here, we've basically explored this whole area, though there is one more, pretty sure that's a
Show me your true
Kumanda.
form.
Two of them, actually.
Looking good. Joker beat 2 enemies.
Go.
Not done yet. Persona.
You know, I should actually mention using Samsara here. There are some Persona traits that make instant death skills better, so, like, they're not actually completely worthless. Give me anything, huh?
Very generous.
Nah.
Can't miss this chance.
The thing about the "I'm sorry, your money and your life" quote, that actually comes from Blackadder, the last episode of the first series.
Power courses through me.
In that episode, he has to recruit a crew of the most evil men in
That's all it
Britain,
takes for
and
me.
that's what one of them says. It's in his, like, establishing character moments. You can set this one to lunch, but we've already gone through here, so let's head to the next area. Disposal line. Again, this is the place that I said before sounds really ominous, but we'll be taking care of this next time because there's a safe room.
It's safe here.
So after that long trek, I'll see you next time for yet more of this place, and I think I'll start next time in the Velvet Room because of the alarm, and I think I'll also be raking up strength then, so see you next time for all of that. Joker looks weirdly smug here, with his hair covering his, like, eyes like that. That on, and or it's like a bedroom eyes thing. And anyway, yeah, see you next time.